You know those brick wall ancestors you've been struggling to find for months, maybe years? The answer you need could have been uploaded in a database just last week. Many genealogy researchers searching for their ancestors sometimes forget to go back in the future to check to see if a database has been updated or if the genealogy platform that you're using has added new record collections. It could be that record that you need to help solve your genealogy brick wall, it's not that it doesn't exist, perhaps it just hasn't been digitized and updated to the genealogy databases. So it is important to regularly go back and check for updated and new record collections in the major genealogy databases. Now in this video, I am going to be showing you how to do that on the major genealogy platforms, and we're going to also take a peek at some of the new record collections that have been added and updated since the beginning of the year, so in 2025. There's some really unique ones that have come up that I'm super excited about because I have found some newly added record collections that can help me in my own personal genealogy research. If we haven't met before, guys, I am Lisa Lisson with Are You My Cousin, and this YouTube channel is designed to help you find your ancestors, grow your family tree, but not be overwhelmed in the process. So if it sounds like your cup of tea, you're in the right place. Alright, so you know that you need to check back regularly to see if the records that you need have been added to that genealogy database you've been using. But do you actually do it on a regular basis? For a long time, guys, I didn't. But I do love a good system and I love good calendars. So I have gone into my Google Calendar that I use and I have set quarterly reminders for myself to go back and recheck for updated and newly added collections at the major genealogy databases that I use. That's it. That's the system. It's simple. You really can't get any simpler than putting a date on a calendar, simply writing it on the calendar once a quarter to go back and check those records. So you don't have any excuse not to do it. I'm going to turn the camera around here in just a moment. We're going to head over to Ancestry.com, MyHeritage, and Family Search. And I'm going to walk you through first how to find the newly added and updated collections at each of those genealogy databases. And then we're also going to take a peek at some of the new record collections I found on their websites. All right, we are over here at Ancestry.com, and I'm going to show you how to find those newly added and updated collections. You're going to go all the way to the far right side panel here and scroll down. You're going to see this section called Tools and Resources, and you're going to see right here, New and Updated Collections, and you're going to click on that. That's how easy it is to find these recently added and updated collections over here at Ancestry.com. Now, I do have mine filtered out to start with for the United States because I do mostly US-based research, but you can filter for all countries. You can filter for Australia. Perhaps you're researching Australian ancestors. You can filter it out for that as well. Let me switch it back to United States. What you can see here on the right-hand side is when the database was updated or newly added. So it's just in chronological order. And if I scroll down here, you can see that since the beginning of 2025, all the way down here, there have been a lot of records that have been added and this is just the US based collection. So this doesn't include all the others that are outside of the US. So this is just looking at the US based records. If you are researching the UK, the United Kingdom, I know I have a number of you guys who follow me do, you can see here they have quite a large collection as well, going all the way down to here. So starting with the 1921 Wales census. So you can see there's a large number of records collections that have been added with these. And you can see all of these are new. So these would be the new ones that have been added. And then they have some that have been updated. So it does clearly indicate to you which ones have been added, which ones have been updated. And by having the date there, you'll know whether you have checked it since it's been updated or not. So that's a really helpful thing to have as well. All right, let's go back to the United States. I wanted to, because I'm more familiar with those records, we're going to pop back over there. And I just wanted to give you a sampling of what you might be seeing. I know I had heard from some of you guys in the comments that you were curious what had been added, because I had referenced this in an earlier video from Roots Tech. And so what we're seeing here for the United States, we've got Arkansas birth certificate records that have been updated. We're seeing brand new Rhode Island Revolutionary War collection. One of the things I was seeing that I thought was really interesting is that I was seeing some updated collections for Roman Catholic records. So we have here in Texas, we have the Archdiocese of San Antonio has an updated collection here. We have Washington State, the Catholic Diocese of Spokane has updated some records there as well. And down here we have Illinois has some updated Roman Catholic Diocese records for Springfield. So I was excited to find these because these will be helpful for me in some future research that I'm working on currently. One of the other things that I like to do when I get here, sometimes when my research is stuck, I like to look through just what's been added newly, because it gives me an idea. Sometimes record collections I might never even think to look at, I might find here that have been added or updated. Down here we have a new record collection back in March, which is the Westinghouse employment records for Pennsylvania. I would never think to look for something like that on my own, so it was really nice to pop through here. And here's another one for a steel corporation with employee records. So that gets me thinking. It helps me keep my creative research juices flowing. So I'm thinking I'm going to put that in the back of my mind and remember, okay, in the future, employment records could be a possibility to add to my research plans for various ancestors I'm working on. So I do like to see that. Now, one thing I wanted to show you guys, when I find an updated or a newly added record collection, I do want to click through and show you a little bit, just real briefly, what I do when I get there. Let's take a look at this Presbyterian Church records collection here. This was added beginning of April 2025. Now, it's very tempting when I get here to start typing my ancestors' names in my search subjects and filling it out and seeing what I get. But I would encourage you to, before you do that, if it's a collection you've not used before, if it's a newly updated collection, you've used it, but if it's a brand new collection to you, scroll down, take a peek, where is the information coming from, what is the source information, and then take a moment and read through what this collection offers. What is included in this collection? Now, this is Presbyterian Church records from the United States from 1701 to 1970. That is a large time period. And so we can go ahead and see too that it also includes records that were collected by American missionaries in Lebanon. It has baptism, marriage, death, burial, church membership type of information. So I would just continue to read through that to make sure I understand what's included. And then of course scrolling down, this is very nicely laid out for us, and it tells us what kind of information we can find in the different types of records that they have. So I do this because I want to make sure that I understand what a record includes and what it doesn't include. So when I'm searching in it, I even know whether I should search it, because if I read through the list of what's included and what's not included and realize, oh, the time period or the information that they're providing isn't what I'm looking for or doesn't match the right thing for my ancestor, then I don't waste valuable genealogy research time searching in a collection that my ancestor was never in to begin with. So I do encourage you to make sure that you understand what these records have and do not have before you dive right in. Now we're over here on MyHeritage. So let me show you how to find the new record collections over here on the MyHeritage website. So from the home page, you want to come over to research and you want to come down into the collection catalog. Now once you do that, you want to come over here to this sort by. So we're going to sort this entire collection and we're going to hit that little down arrow. We're going to click last updated, and there we have it. These are a lot of the trees that they have. And if you come down, you can see the records here. So we have new records that have been added. We have the date that they were added, and then we also have the number of records in a collection. So you can see that this is an unfiltered collection. So this is literally around the world that we're seeing right now. So we can see these large numbers of records that have been added to the database. I love seeing these as well. I love seeing newspapers that have been added and updated with their old news, because newspaper research is just some of my favorite, guys. It really does give us the stories and the context. But let me show you a little bit more how to, if you need to filter this down a little bit more, you absolutely can. So you can refine it down over here in the left-hand sidebar to type, but I like to kind of keep it a little bit broad, and I'm going to look for the USA records because, again, I'm a US-based researcher, and I want to see what it is they have. So again, we have some Navy muster rolls that have been added, some draft registrations. Oh, I like this one, New York City air arrivals from 1957 to 1962. I've actually used this one, guys, because I actually have some traveling ancestors. It's a really cool thing to find them there. So we have some Catholic records from the San Francisco Catholic Archdiocese. South Dakota school registers. If you have not looked at a school register, guys, this might be something to put in the back of your mind to use to explore at a later time as well. This is always a really great record to see. This was added back in March 18th, 2025. Let's take a little click into it. Let me just show you what it looks like. This is where they're going to tell us about what is in this collection. We can read through it and learn a little bit more about what this collection holds. Again, 1879 to 1934 for schools, various schools in South Dakota. It's a pretty good time gap there. We find names and birth dates and residence and years and location of attendance. Sometimes, guys, in the absence of some of your usual genealogy records, a school register can be quite helpful. So we're over here looking at Louise Brown's school register entry here, so we can learn a little bit about her. So we get the transcription, the bare bones there up top about who she is. So we have Louise Brown. Her birthday September 10th, 1918. In school, this is the 1934 record for her schooling in Miller and Hand, South Dakota. She was 15 years old. Gives us her district, and it tells us who her parent was, S.L. Wilkins. So to see the original, you scroll down, enlarge, and we'll just enlarge just whoops, a little bit here. So here she is right here. Here she is right here. So you can, up here at the top, a little bit of information, not much on this one actually, but we can then, this would have been her birthday from what they were telling us. She was 15, and this is her mother, Mrs. S.L. Wilkins, maybe Wilkins. This is a nice little find because it does appear that perhaps her mother has remarried since they have different surnames. But again, this is the kind of information that you can get on a school's register, and it may become helpful for you. So if you haven't seen one, check the databases for that. But I did want you to have an opportunity to take a peek at what one looks like if you hadn't seen it before. Do you regularly check your genealogy databases for updated records and newly added records? If so, let me know in the comments. I'd also love to know what are maybe some of the most interesting things that you have found when you've checked those newly added collections. Okay, now we're over here at Family Search, so let me show you how to find their newly added records and updated record collections. So from the home page, when you've signed in, you want to go under Search and go into Records. So click on Records in the drop down, and then from here, scroll down a little bit until you see this Browse All Collections. So it's going to be under Find a Collection. It's under the search box. It's going to be Browse All Collections, and you want to click that. And this brings you to their record collection. So there's quite a few here. And you want to click on this last updated, and you're going to click on it twice. There we go. And now you can see in reverse chronological order records that have been added and when they have been added. So you can scroll down and see just in April there have been a large number of records. Now this is worldwide. I don't have this filtered out at all, but you can see in April just how many records have been added. So you can absolutely go through that. Obviously, I would recommend that you actually filter out, much like we've done previously. You can have a variety. You can do it by type, but usually when I'm checking, I do it by location. And again, since I am researching mostly US records, I'm going to click on that. Now I can do all the United States, or I can just, if I'm looking at a specific state, I could absolutely do a specific state. Well, let's pop down and do Massachusetts. There we go. And so this is showing me all of the newly added records that I would see for Massachusetts and when they've been added. So you can see there've been a number since the beginning of 2025, and we'll find those here as well. And I can certainly at that point click through and start my search here. Now, just like the other databases, again, I think I probably sound like a broken record with this, but I do read through this and make sure I know what it is it includes. and what it doesn't include, so that before I jump right into searching for my ancestors. This holds record collections for petitions of naturalizations, declarations of intentions, and oath of allegiance that were filed in the United States Court, District and Circuit Courts of Massachusetts from 1790 to 1991. Now this is really nice. It's a large time period, obviously, so this would be one that I could check on. So it's really that easy to find those records. It's a little cumbersome. Make sure you just double click last updated, because that will give you the reverse chronological order for those records. I do find that if you click out and come back, I do have to resort them again to make sure I have the most recently added ones at the top. And then when you're done with that and want to filter again, you just click out and you can filter again. Filter your next set of records that you might need. Now, one thing that I would recommend to help you stay on top of newly added databases and newly updated databases to kind of help streamline your process, in addition to putting a regular date on the calendar every few months to check, would be to get on their email list. Because companies, when they add records, they want you to know about, they want you to use their collections. So when you're on their newsletter email list, you'll be notified of when new collections become available. Additionally, just follow them on social media. Again, this is another place to kind of keep up to date with what the companies are doing, big and small, to find out what is being added, what's being updated, because you never know. You could just be one record away from solving that brick wall ancestor problem that you have. Now, this is a very simple system that I use when it comes to checking for these newly added databases. It's a habit that I've gotten into. And if you would like to learn about other types of systems that I use in my genealogy research to stay productive and keep my research moving forward, watch the video on your screen now. Cupcakes to Checklist: The Sweetness of Genealogy Workflows.